To begin our Starry Night drawings, we are going to draw with a black oil pastel. Now, since you're watching this on video, I'm going to draw with a white oil pastel so you can clearly see what I'm doing, but make sure that when you begin your drawing, you start with a black oil pastel. To start our Starry Night, we're going to begin with the tree that you see in Van Gogh's painting. So we're going to make the tree, it kind of looks like a big flame, or you can think of it as a big crazy hand. And we're just kind of going to make some zigzags and create a tree over on the edge of our paper, just like that. Now what we want to do is make our horizon line where our hills are going to be. So I'm going to start on one side of the paper and I'm going to come across. Now when you get to your tree, you need to stop and you need to jump over so your line doesn't go through your tree. Your tree is in front of the horizon line, and so we want to make sure that that line stays behind the tree. You can come on across. And it's okay if your line is a little bit more straight or if it's a little bit more wavy than mine. The last thing we're going to actually draw on this painting are the hills in the background. So we're just going to make 3 big humps that come across just like this. Now, when you draw, please be mindful that you try to keep your horizon line about halfway down your page, and you try to keep your hillsides a little low so that you have plenty of room to paint the starry night sky, which is the most important part of this painting. So we'll get started on how to do that. Okay, now that we have our starry night drawn, we're going to begin by painting the sky. You'll have a palette of paint at your table that has orange, pink, turquoise, yellow, green, and white. And we're going to use a special technique called double loading our brush to create all the different swirls and colors that are in the night sky. We're going to begin by painting the moon and the stars. So to double load your brush, what you want to do, you want to dip your paintbrush in white first. We're always going to dip it in white first, and then we're going to pick up whatever color we want to use for our moon. I'm going to do yellow. Now we want our brush strokes to really imitate Van Gogh's. So what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of dab with our paint, and you're going to see that the 2 colors of paint we have, white and yellow, start to kind of mix together, and that's really going to help us imitate Van Gogh's style. So I'm just going to kind of make a crescent moon, which is just kind of a half-shaped moon, and you can see I'm just kind of tapping my brush. I'm not using a brush stroke back and forth. I'm just tapping my brush to create the shape of my moon. I'm going to go back, I'm going to double load my brush again, and I'm going to pick out a few spaces just to tap some stars in, just some circles, just like this. Again, I am not painting back and forth like we may have done on other paintings. I am tapping my brush up and down to make those really brushy strokes that you see in Van Gogh's paintings. Now, after I've added my moon and a few different stars, you can clean off your brush. If your brush ever gets a little too wet, you can always dry it off on a sponge. I'm going to start creating all of those different swirls of color that you see in his painting. Again, I'm always going to dip my brush in white and then a color. And all I'm going to do is start making these really short little dabs. I'm going to go around my moon in kind of a circle first. Just little short brushy strokes. And then I'm going to go back and get a little more, and I'm going to start going around my stars, just kind of in a circle. And then what you can start to do is just really start to get into your sky, really start to make all of those really brushy strokes, all of the swirls. You can start to come out from your moon, and you can start to make little lines that go to swirl around your stars. And you're just going to continue filling in your sky until you have covered all of the black paper and you have some really great looking swirly backgrounds that look a little bit like Van Gogh's painting. So I'll finish the sky and then we'll talk more about the rest of the landscape. The sky for my starry night is complete. You can see that I've used lots of different colors and I've tried to swirl around all of the stars and the moon that I created to really try to make my sky look like Van Gogh's. When you look at this closely, you'll see that you can still tell that the white was just kind of mixing with the different colors of paint. They're not completely blended together, and that's going to help our painting have those really strong brush strokes and really make it look like Van Gogh's. Now, you'll notice my paint palette did get a little messy, and that's okay. You want to be sure that you're always picking up white and another color, white and another color. We don't want to mix the colors together because we'll start to create a painting that looks a little bit too muddy.